That ain't shit for a reason, you heard?
That's a fact. Yo, welcome to another episode of Dad and It. Shh. My name is Chocolate Dad.
This Sai, aka Sire.
Your boy Styles.
It's your boy 9-5. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the love, the support. Make sure you guys continue to subscribe, like, comment, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend, and keep their love coming. We appreciate it. Yes. Any comments and feedback you guys have, we more than would appreciate. And, we're just loving what we've been doing. We're falling in love with it. Everybody out there seems to be liking it a lot. So, here we are again. I haven't seen you guys in a little bit, though.
That's a
fact. It's been a couple of weeks. What's everybody been up to, man?
I got one comment before we start. You look like a highlighter, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Like the highlighter marker with the black top.
100%. Yo, it's crazy. I told when I first seen it today, I told him, I said, when you record, we're not gonna be able to see you. This wasn't heading nobody.
You know what's crazy? I put the shirt on. I'm like, fuck it. I ain't taking the shit off. I got in the car, right?
You got a safety job today?
Huh?
You got a safety job today?
I'm like a contractor. So look, I got in the V, right? So I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I look under my hat. It's shit
yellow?
Yeah, I was like, this shit bright as fuck. I was like,
Don't do nothing. Yeah. Don't do nothing crazy today because everybody gonna see you.
Nah, I'm taking this shit off. I'm going shirtless. You know
nah.
Ain't that kind of weather just yet, bro.
I'm going shirtless.
But other than that, I mean, it's calm.
Starting to warm up a little bit.
It is starting to get hot. It's starting to get hot. Weather break. I seen my first summer fight the other day. I was in the projects for 2 seconds, and that 2 seconds I was in a project, there was a fight right outside.
Oh man!
I said we got to get out of here.
Anybody at World Store? Anybody at World Store? Is World Store still a thing like that?
Nah, I don't know. World Store,
nothing, right?
No. Nobody really it come Instagram. You see the video 100 times.
Instagram is it, man.
Twitter or something. You go see that video a million times on another social media.
110%, man. Yeah. I'm glad to hear everybody's doing real good, man. I missed y'all a little bit.
I ain't that good, but I'm alright. I'm breathing.
You woke up today, man. We
started. So I woke up. I'm still sleeping.
All right, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So today we have our first guest on the show, inaugural guest. So hopefully he feels a lot of love and appreciation for such. So we got our boy Ace here with us in the building and having conversation with you guys, via text, chats, just a lot of things that we've been working on, whether with the podcast, our personal lives, a lot of things revolving around finances have been coming up. And a really good thing that people aren't really always keen to, or something that people really just not almost a struggle with, but it's always a topic I'm sure that's on people's minds. It's always on my mind, right? It's always money, right? It's like you need money. People say money is happiness. Not necessarily money's happiness, but I'm quite sure like when you got money, you ain't worried. You're a lot happier. You're a lot happier.
I'm saying it real quick. Money's happening, you know why? Because if you ain't got no bread, you're gonna be tight. But right now you get like $100K in your pocket, you gonna be like, you're gonna be a little happy right there.
True, like when that money disappears again, you mad again.
Yeah, but it's happy at first when you get it, but after it's gone, it's like, all right.
I think it comes down to like understanding like financial responsibility and stuff, right? Because like if you can't manage $1,000 to handle something and you get like $100K, that's fine. I'm about to go buy like $100,000 whip, and then you just
that's it.
You on some clown stuff.
See, with me is a little bit different. I don't know if I know how to manage money. It's just that, like, I don't ever worry about money. Not that I have it. It's just that I feel like
he got it.
Not that I have it. It's just that, like, for example, like we working on the house right now, and my lady, she's like, yo, we're gonna have to pay so and so. I say, yo, we're gonna figure it out. I know we could figure it out. I believe in God. It's gonna if it's for me, what's for me is for me. And let him do his thing. Even if we gotta work something out, we're gonna figure it out. So that's why I don't let money be a stressor in my life.
Mm-hmm. So basically, what he's saying is like subscribe to his OnlyFans he got, Chocolate Dad OnlyFans. That's how I gonna make it work. So
that's it.
That's basically what he's saying.
Under the dad and shit umbrella.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but I don't.
I mean, like, we introduced the
guest. Let him introduce yourself.
So tell us, man. Tell us about yourself, Ace.
Get on camera shy. A little family here.
Get a little closer to the microphone, man. Tell the people about yourself.
That Barry White.
Nah, no Barry White. But listen, man, name is Ace. Instagram is Ace1Credit _ I can change your life. Website is icanchangeyourlifenow.com. And ultimately, in the end of the day, I'm a life changer when it comes to the credit. As far as clearing up credit, building up credit, you name it. That's what I do. So, one more you guys need to know.
So let me tell you. All right. So you say you could change people's lives.
Oh,
Right?
I need my life change.
I'm about to say, first get in line, bro. I started talking first. You wait your turn.
my
You
life
wait your
change.
turn. You just said you
Shit.
got it. You let God have it.
All
right.
You have a plan now.
I heard God helps
You know what?
those
God
who
is
love
going to
themselves.
change my life.
He has certainly changed mine. I appreciate that, God. But you say change people's lives, right? So like what does that really mean? Like you change people's lives, like.
I mean, ultimately,
what do you do that can change somebody's life?
Meaning predominantly if a person has struggles with credit, whether it's derogatory accounts, negative accounts, no credit, any walks of life with credit, I put them in a position to where their credit profile is stronger, to where it changes their lives, to where now they're in a position to do things with credit.
Like what things though? Let's say now, because a lot of people end up with bad credit because they come out of school. They're not keeping up with their student loans.
It could be various, because
Card notes.
like most people look at it when that old saying of cash is king. 100%. I'm big on that. I'm big type of person as far as having cash. You definitely need cash, but you got to look at credit as its queen. You know what I'm saying? So even though cash is king, credit is queen, you have both of them together, you have a strong empire. You know what I'm saying? And I don't give a crap of. Can I curse?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Say what you want.
Okay, I don't give a.
This is where the and part comes in.
I don't give a shit how much cash you have. You know what I'm saying? You have strong credit, it puts you in the position to have access of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So a person that has $100,000 in cash or $100,000 in credit, the person with $100,000 in credit is way more stronger than the person with the $100,000 in cash.
So why is that? Because like if I have $100,000 cash and I want to go buy something, it's mine. So why is it? Explain to the folks why credit is a stronger thing to possess than it is just cash only.
Ultimately, it's leveraging. You know what I'm saying? It's ultimately leveraging yourself. When you have strong credit, you are able to leverage yourself without the strain of.
You can keep your cash and then you can cover.
Like I give you to you like perfect example. I'm real big on. I have strong credit for as long as I can remember. So I'm big on if purchasing a house. Like my first house that I've ever bought back in 2006, 5, I ever bought. I bought it with no cash at all whatsoever. Sign on the dotted line, like leasing a vehicle. Sign on the dotted line, no money out of pocket. Bought the house. At the time, it was probably like a $200,000 house, and literally not a penny came out of my pocket.
But how do you do that? What's the how did you?
I mean, back in 2006, 2007,
early 2000s.
Yeah, 2006, 2007, like the criterias of getting loans is not as stringent. Even though these type of loans are still available to today, even though they don't promote them, these type of loans were easily more accessible. Primarily the people that had strong credits. You know what I'm saying? So if you had strong credit, depending on your scenario, money factors that you have, whatnot stuff, motherfuckers is literally getting into these homes with no money out of pocket. And I did that twice. Not a penny out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? The same thing like getting a vehicle. Like I told you guys today. Bought a vehicle today on a finance. Not a penny came out of my pocket. A $32,000 car. On my wife's pocket. My wife got strong credit. So she piggybacks off of things that I do, whatever. Not a penny came out of her pocket at all whatsoever. Sign and drive, first month payment, when she's supposed to make the payment, starts next month. Now, if you're in a situation, you got jacked up credit, you're getting yourself into a 40, 50, 30, whatever $1,000 car, yo, we need $5,000 down. You know what I'm saying?
Payments is crazy.
The payments is crazy.
The
You know what I'm
mortgage
saying?
is crazy.
So like for instance, like when I'm saying leveraging, let's say hypothetically these people wanted you to put down $5,000 on the car. And he and I did this talk. I mean, when he was getting one of the vehicles that he had got.
Who's this?
Yeah, Chris, my brother. Yeah.
Oh, that's your brother.
my real brother. So like one time I was purchasing the vehicle and then a dealership, it was a Beamer that I was purchasing, and these guys wanted me to drop 5 racks on the whip as a down payment. So
It was finance, or you leasing it?
I never leased before. I mean, I'm just now getting into the leasing game or so, but I've never really was into leasing until you could say now with it. But ultimately, the car was about a $45,000 car at the time. Again, no money out of pocket. So when I was purchasing the vehicle, they wanted me to drop 4, 5. How much could you drop on the car? So I'm not dropping anything. So what do you mean you're not dropping What do you mean you're not dropping anything? This is a $40-something thousand car. Your payments are going to be crazy. So their argument was, if you drop $5,000 on the car, your payments would be a lot less.
$500 less.
So when I expressed to them, I said, listen, let's break the numbers down. If I drop $5,000 down on a down payment on a note for, let's say hypothetically 5 years on a $40,000 car, what's the monthly payments going to be? Different. You break it down,
Like
we're talking about $30, $40.
Because it's like $30 for every $1,000.
Yeah, so I expressed to them, if $30 or $40 is gonna make or break me keeping this car, I have no business buying it.
That's a
You
fact.
understand what I'm saying? So, long story short, I said, look, I'm not dropping anything on the car at all whatsoever. I want to sign and drive, whatever on the car. When it was all said and done, I signed and drive on the car. The following month, when the first payment was due, I dropped that same $5,000 down that these guys were asking me to pay.
And it goes to the principal of the car.
Fuck the principal. I didn't have a payment for a year.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a payment for a year to be made. Technically, you know what I'm saying? Even though I still made payments. Either way.
Did you end up just putting it maybe in a separate account? To
No,
pay it
I
off
paid directly to BMW.
And then you
and I dropped
good for the year.
$5,000, but the payment was covered
All right,
For
let
the
me ask you
for
a
the
question.
entire year.
So,
Or wasn't required to be paid.
Okay.
Because it was already paid for. Although I was still making payments by choice. Like I didn't pay nothing this month. The next month I'll probably drop
you was
another.
ahead of the game.
I was already ahead of the game.
Son,
You understand what I'm saying?
I never thought of that.
Now, hold on. Wait. It's a question and a half. So, when you first went to the dealership and they said it $45,000 on the car, right? You say you're not putting nothing down. That was they wanted you to put down $5,000 before or after they ran the credit already.
Number one, I already knew what my credit status was.
Oh, so there was you just speaking to them prior.
Yeah,
and
they was already
getting
speaking, but then, you know, they do
ballpark. Yeah, they
preliminaries.
salesmen. They gonna do after they pull
whatever,
it. It's
and
like,
they want the
oh,
money or whatever, whatnot
all right,
stuff.
cool.
Whatnot stuff, and you know, they try to, could you put a deposit? But I told them,
I'm like, nah,
But-
I know
but-
where I stand.
but I go in, I'm a very cocky.
This is King Haggler right
Yeah.
here. You don't go do nothing without this dude.
I'm a very cocky person. You know what I'm saying? Although I'm being like a little mellow today, right now, I'm a very cocky person. So I already expressed to them, listen, the least of your worries is me being approved. I know I'm getting approved. It's a guarantee I'm getting approved. What you need to do is put me
Make the numbers right.
where I need to be at and where I want to be at. You understand what I'm saying? So back and forth, and then finally when it's all said and done, we were at the numbers where I needed to be at. And I said, okay, go ahead. Run
And
the
that's what
report.
you mean, you're leveraging. Because
That's where it comes.
All
right, so
leveraging.
Real quick, wait, I'm sorry, Chris. At that point in time, you said, when was this you was getting this Beamer?
2006, 2007.
No, that's when he got the house. When was this you was getting the Beamer?
Beamer? Oh, I got my car. 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Oh, at this point, your credit like 800. I thought this was like back in 06. I want to know what
Back
your
in
credit
06,
score.
I've always been in the 700s.
Okay.
I've always, even when I had a foreclosure back in 2010, what put me in the position that I'm in today to be where I'm at is what I went through back in 2010. My twin brother and I. Okay, but we had our own struggles in our own
It's
time.
mad at y'all, bro.
I told you there's like 19 of them, son. Which is, I don't understand how you let him have the baby shower on the baby due date, bro.
When the baby? You have a baby coming?
No, I
Nah,
got
he's a
a
bitch.
baby.
You telling me right now?
I'm gonna get back to that,
I'm about to
bro.
talk to mom.
I'm 27 now. You know what I'm saying? If you would have told him, I'm sure that would have happened.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, so pretty much 99.9% of everything that I know of and learned of today is what I experienced back in 2010.
So what happened and what was so like pivotal in 2010 that made you or eye open up
Was
or
it
the
the
lesson
market
you
crash?
learned?
No, okay. Back in
I'm just curious.
Back
No,
in
I'm asking if it was
2020,
the
to get a
market
little
crash.
background
It goes a little something like this.
yeah, a little something like this. Back in 2010, around between 2006 2007, I got involved with many different factors, along with my twin. But my twin, anything he does, I do, vice versa, or whatever, whatnot.
It don't have to be that way. Just because y'all twins doesn't
It's
mean.
just that's how it works. That's how
We
it
do
works.
credit too?
No. He's more in the real
We holler at
estate.
him another
Yeah,
episode.
he's more into real estate.
All right.
But back in that time, you know, I was involved. I had a tow truck business. I was involved in real estate, other things. That's so long ago. A couple different situations. So long story short, back in around 2009-ish, when the market started crashing,
Recession.
and the recession came about or whatever, whatnot stuff. The properties that I had started losing value. The tenants that I had wasn't paying any money. The flatbed tow truck business that I had involved in wasn't going too well. The partner that I had was jacking me up. So ultimately, in a nutshell, it was about $350,000 worth of debt that I had. Okay, we're talking about like about $6,000 a month, $7,000 a month worth of debt that I had going on each month to, keep whatever I had going
Very
on.
similar to what's starting to happen now. For some
Kind of
people.
similar to what's happening now. So when those situations happened to me, like the property that I had, I remembered it was worth about $200,000, right? But when the market was going on, I was trying to do short sales on the property or so or whatnot, and then when I went to look at the value of the property was like $60,000. So I was already in the red, $140,000. All right, the flatbed tow truck that I had, the nut on that was $1,200 a month. Okay, but the way it was working for me, I was making at that time $2,200 a week from what I was working with. So between that, I have a 9-to-5, even though I don't promote that as well, because it's a stupid cliche. People think because you have a 9-to-5 that you're not successful.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start
You gotta
somewhere.
fund the business somewhere.
Whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? So people think that's a cliche, but I make a couple $100,000 a year. So you can kick rocks, whatever you want to talk. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing, thankfully. But anyhow, I had to make financial sense of my situation. You know what I'm saying? Tenants wasn't paying. Again, as I stated before, when I tried to raise the rent, $50 per apartment, they all come together to start saying that I had insects in the property. This, you know what I'm saying? To try to figure a way not to pay an extra $50.
We got mold over
a
here.
month, $600 extra a year. They wouldn't
Wash machine ain't
do.
working.
So I had to make a financial decision, and I basically just put my hands up in the air and said, "Fuck it, let everything go."
To God, let it go to
You know what
God.
I'm saying?
That's what I would say.
I didn't necessarily let it go to God, even though I was still affording it. But that wasn't the point of it. Affording it, it literally didn't make
It didn't
sense.
make business sense.
Now,
You weren't making any money off of it
You in a
anymore.
rat race at that point.
Yeah.
You ain't-
So
the
basically,
finish line's
robbing
going
Peter to pay
first
Paul. I
and
had credit lines of credit, where back then you could use those credit lines to pay your mortgages. Today you can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was being very
strategic.
It was working. Don't get it twisted. It was definitely working, but I didn't.
Too much
Fire
work.
still in your
Yeah,
head.
too much work.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna get caught up.
Eventually it was going to catch up to me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make a financial decision and said, F it. Just let everything go. You know what I'm saying? So I stopped making payments on everything in October of 2009. I stopped making payments on everything on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So of course, every single month my credit's getting hit with the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 120-day, whatever went out up until the point before the houses got foreclosed, the tow truck got repoed, the lines of credit that I had got closed out, charged off, or whatever whatnot. And now here it is, I'm sitting with a pile of fucking debt. Like, yo, what the hell I do? Right? So at the time, back then, I'm 45 now, even though I don't look it. But
Oh, word?
45.
45.
Come on,
Oh.
bro, come on, man.
I think about 25, 26.
Stop it, man. Look.
I thought you was about 32.
Well, I was 32, 33 at the time.
No, that's when I was talking about when this happened.
This happened now, yeah. So that was about that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it happened. So when all this went on,
It's a joke.
I seen him. I just let it go in my head. So anyway, when I was trying to get to the point of it, when I let all this go, I went through different credit repair so-called companies. If a person told me give him $5,000, I'll give him $5,000. If a person told give him $10,000, I'll give you $10,000. Because I know
Get this right.
getting my credit together now puts me in position to have access to either hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions. So hundreds of thousands is a house. You know what I'm saying? Millions is multiple houses or whatever it may be. So if someone told me that, okay, cool, I'll pay it, which I was doing. So while I was paying people, you know, a lot of the times, these credit repair people, and your audience will probably notice that if they go to them, they prey on people's desperateness.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Which I was desperate. My twin was desperate. You know what I'm saying? In, you know, trying to get a situation in order. But mind you, even though I had the foreclosures, repossessions, all these accounts, my credit rating was still strong. You know what I'm saying? In the 7s still.
Why is that now?
Because I had enough supporting other credit
Assets, basically?
No, other, like on my credit report, I still had other
things that
supporting
still
that could support what was
going
So
on.
real quick, right? So a question I had, and I'm gonna let you finish in a second. So a lot of times, and it's something I've come to find out, you know, in my adult life, right? So a high
Only been like 2
credit.
years.
Yeah, I was about to say that, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
A high credit score doesn't necessarily mean that your credit is strong, right?
It's bullshit.
It's the history.
Because like I've seen places where you go in this dealership, you got an 800 credit score, like I'm lit, and then they be like, nah, we'll let you rock for $800 a month. You're like, what?
Yeah,
Because 800
because people-
there's not like what like why is that? Explain
not-
that.
it's not
Because you might have somebody that goes in there with like a 650,
Yeah.
and they're like, you good, bro?
It's what they call typically a strong credit profile or thin credit profile. So you can have, like my daughter, 22 years old, right? She has a 700 credit score, got all cocky, went to the dealership to go get a car. And I told her from rip, they're not going to approve you for anything. Why, Daddy? I got a 700 credit score.
No history.
I'm like,
keep going, let's
you
keep
got
going.
no
Listen,
history,
man.
limited history, limited credit, or whatever stuff. You rather have a 640, 650
With some good,
credit score
some good history.
with some history. Let's say no blemishes, but just an overall strong credit profile, you'd be more likely to get approved than a person with a 780, 750 credit score and get approved.
So at 22, how would she have had a good history, a strong profile if she's 22?
I mean, you could start building up credit pretty much from birth. You can start building up
No,
credit.
because I'm asking because I'm trying to get a little more clarity. Because what I want to do is what I heard is most people, not of people of color, what they do is for their children. They
cable in their name.
put a the people of color
That's the
put the
wrong
cable
way.
under their
That's the
name.
wrong way.
What they do is they add them to their credit line. Like my
No, you know that.
my
Like 0
mom-
months.
0 months. My mom added me
As on
on her credit line in 94 by accident. She didn't know. I guess I was.
But
adding
typically
on
on average,
But
it's
it helps.
age 16. But it's dope. What it's called, that's when you do the authorized user move, it's called piggybacking off of somebody else's credit, which is dope. You know what I'm saying? But
Does it help build
It
that?
helps.
Hell
It's not
It
it's
helps.
LD because that's
Hell
that's
yeah.
my father did for me, right? So when I went away to college, he gave me a Bank of America credit card. So I was like, oh shit, I'm lit. But I didn't understand that stuff because they was like, we spoke about in previous episodes, financial literacy isn't something that's really, even at home, they don't, my father didn't talk to me about
not
it.
there,
It's not, it
like,
wasn't told in
instilled,
school or any
yeah.
of that kind of
You
stuff.
understand? They don't-
But my
they
father
still
gave me a
don't teach
credit
them
card,
that. Yeah.
but I'll use it for like if I really, really needed something, you know what I mean? Like one day, like I had a tire that blew or whatever. So I was like, yo, I gotta go to the spot and get a new tire. So I used that or whatever, and he'll pay for it. So then when I graduated college, I knew I had loans. My credit credit score was fire. I was like, what the hell was this? And they're like, oh, you've had this.
Loans don't impact your credit score unless you don't make payments on them.
as far as
Right. And if you default
As far
on
as
them,
your score going, I guess up
or
up
regular
or down.
loans, you mean?
no,
No,
like
no,
school
student
loans.
loans, like federal student loans, not like if I went
Even
to the bank
private, regardless
and
of the
got a
credit.
loan. For real, I didn't know about the private, but I know like federal student loans, like what I have, it
can't get
never
those.
really affected my credit score until like I didn't make a payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
will, depending, goes against your utilizations. There's different factors that goes into it with that, when it comes to student loans. But yeah, if as long as every single month it's showing paid on time, typically it doesn't necessarily affect scoring. It'll help build the scoring, but yeah, until it start having some sort of negativity. But most
So wait.
people, like with those student loans, like with student loans, for me, I feel it's like the devil, as far as
Definitely
it
is.
ruins people's lives. You know what I'm saying?
Sally Mae.
That's why you
Yeah,
go to
Sally
college.
Mae, Fannie Mae, or
That's why I ain't
whatnot
go.
and stuff. So I'm a big proponent
Annie Mae.
and against student loans, big time.
It's
You
a
know what I'm saying?
business. It's
All
not
my
education.
all my kids, I got 5 kids. So all my kids, I said from jump, listen, and I told my wife from jump, I ain't taking out no student loans ever for none of them.
So you pay for their school to go to school?
Predominantly, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, life is good.
But it's
Well,
not
you gotta
necessarily
work
life
there.
is good.
So-
It's just being.
So, Ace, let me ask you a question, right? So, what Steve was mentioning, right? So, all right, you got student loans, right? You're making these payments, but it's not helping build your credit. So, what?
It does. It
Yeah.
does help build your credit,
But not like
it's part of your. It's part of your
portfolio.
your portfolio. But then remember, if you have like a situation where you got a student loan, and the student loan has, let's say, your debt, right? I'll give you a perfect example. One of our good friends. I won't say the name because I'm sure you probably watched this, but you know what I'm talking about. L.
You said the name.
Oh,
You
Al.
just said
But it's not him though. But he knows what I'm talking about when I say
Oh.
it, right? He was in a situation where he was trying to buy a house or whatever, whatnot stuff. Mind you, I had worked on his credit for him and I cleared up his whatever it is, and he's in the 700s or so. But the problem was he had student loans in total of over $100,000 worth of student loans.
That's like me.
That's still a debt, right? It's still a debt. So when he's trying to obtain
They get their money.
mortgages or so, that goes against his debt to income ratio.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no doubt. 700 credit score, whatever, whatnot stuff. But yo, you got $100,000 debt. Your income is decent, but then you're trying to get yourself into
Another $100,000.
no, for home, like a $400,000
I'm
house.
saying another hundreds of thousands.
Yeah,
of
so when
dollars.
sorry about that. So when they factor that in and look at his DTI, nah, dude, you're dead.
What's DTI for the people who
Debt
watch
to
it?
income.
Debt to income.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Not for you, for people
So
that watch it.
he came to me and said, hey, bro, what can we do with this? Remove it off your credit. Fuck it. Just remove the debt.
You could remove your.
So ultimately, to answer your question, I was able to remove.
That's why people got to
Oh,
reach
you
out to
dead.
H1 credit.
Oh, you
Card.
lit.
So that's why he said he the go with his joint.
Oh, you changed your life.
Like,
That's
That's
where-
70,000. I need that off my credit report today.
So that's where I'm saying it's life changing.
I got a question. You touched on it before about.
I have a question too after you done.
Then portfolio and
And Strong. What's the difference?
That's
Explain
now-
that.
My man.
Strong. Like explain that.
Yeah, that's my question.
Like
That's
well,
actually
well, like
my
well, like a
question.
thin profile is a profile. I mean, in the simplicities, a profile is thin. Maybe you have a Macy's credit card,
Okay.
and that's the only card that's on there. But then, you had it for a year or so, and they got your credit at a 700.
That's considered thin.
That's a thin profile.
But this the question. This is because these come up. So I feel like I work in a high school. So these conversations I try to have them with my students. I don't have all the information. I just, I
For $5,000, I
talk to
come
my.
to talk to your students for an hour at a time, bro.
Don't go buy the BMW.
right?
Go see Ace.
So no, I talked to one of my good friends, Kendall, and I get some information from him about credit and everything, and he helps me. So I don't have all the answers. He might not either.
Got you.
But like I
Kendall?
just that's the producer of the show.
Oh, okay.
I try to convey the message to them because I wasn't taught it when I was the age. In high school, I knew nothing about credit,
Facts.
nothing about finances, nothing about nothing. I didn't know nothing about anything in high
You
school.
just thought
but-
you work hard, you
but
get some
girls-
money, you survive, and everything. All
Girls,
right.
yeah.
That's it. Nothing but girls. I wasn't even thinking about that. But
Please
I
stop
try to
lying
let
to the
them know.
people, them, please. Thank
And
you.
the kids ask me, they're like, so like
it's good they ask
if I get
At least, yeah,
we
it's
try to have that
enough,
conversation. So they ask me because I tell them like, yo, you need a credit card, you need to have all this stuff to build your credit because right now you have no credit. But they tell me, all right, I'm gonna get a credit card, but they only gonna give me like $200.
That's a start. That's how I started out.
But do I get like 5 credit cards with $200 on it? Like, how am I building it? Like, how do I make my portfolio go from thin to thick?
Okay,
Pause.
what you're gonna have is what is called primary accounts. Because a lot of times what people will do, again, the piggybacking with the trade line options. Trade lines is nothing more than an authorized user account. So for instance, like this gentleman here,
That's Saya.
Saya, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
If let's say, nice to meet you as well. If let's say hypothetically a person would think, okay, look, I'm just gonna have a whole bunch of authorized users on my account, which now those bunch of authorized users on my account is gonna balloon my score depending on the overall age and limits of those accounts. Let's say 750. Throwing the number
Let's
750.
add that in real quick because it's also the fact that anybody could add somebody. You could add me as your authorized user, but then if you ain't keeping up with that, it affects
It affects
the
you.
as well, too.
Yeah, it goes
both
Don't
ways.
get jumping to the gun and thinking
Yeah.
that you're just gonna be adding somebody's credit.
Yeah, because
you don't take care of it.
I'll have a person that'll come to me and be like, hey, yo, Ace, listen, I need about 5 trade lines or authorized user accounts. And I'll say, hold on, let me look at your report first. You may not necessarily need that. No, I got to get to the 700. I need to get in the 700. I got 1 credit card, so I want to get 5 other authorized user accounts to get my scores to come up. And I'd be like, you're still dead in the water, right? What do you mean I'm still dead in the water? 9 times out of 10, there's a good possibility you're still not going to get approved for anything. How's that? Again, when the creditors look at your report, even though you have a 700 credit score, they're going to look and see why you have a 700 credit score. So now if they look at your report, you have 6
New credit card.
no, 6 not new credit cards. Let's say you have 6, I'm forgetting what it is. Lines on your report, for lack of a better word, is on your report. If they look at the 6 items that are not inquiries, lines, credit lines, accounts, whatever. So there's a word for it. I don't know why I have a brain freeze on your report. And let's say out of the 6, 5 of them are authorized user accounts. They're gonna say authorized user, authorized user, and one of them an account that belongs to you, which is called a primary account. Now there's a good possibility you're not gonna get approved because they're gonna look and say, "Oh, wait a minute, the reason why this person got
You've been
you're
piggybacking.
piggybacking. That's the reason why you got a 700 credit score. He's piggybacking
You
over
got
somebody
piggyback
else's credit.
get the piggyback.
So,
then
so
get
what
the
you want to
primary.
do? You want to make it an overall strong credit profile. You know what I'm saying?
have a
At some
question.
point, you gotta remove yourself
So
off for that.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, that's a good question, right? So when I first graduated college, right, a very close friend of mine was like, "Yo, they had a Platinum Amex." They're like, "Yo, like I just like what you mentioned, right? I went to go try to buy a car, for myself, and only thing I had was I was authorized user on my dad's credit card, and I had a Macy's card, right, when I was in college, and so they were just like." They laughed at me like, "Nah, you good, bro. It's, take the bus." So couldn't get nothing or whatever. So my friend was like, "Yo, listen, I'll give you a card or whatever the case may be," which was great because now you have all those perks and all that kind of stuff. But what happens is, like, if somebody has other authorized users, so all of that collective debt belongs to everybody.
No. I mean, it belongs to the account, but that
Well,
Right, but
main
their
person
account
on
shows
that.
up on your credit because
It's gonna
now
show to- yeah.
on my credit report it'll say, "Oh, you charged $26,000 last month, but you only make $4,000 a month." So now, rather than building, it's hurting me because
Depends.
now
it's gonna
folks-
it's gonna go.
if he paid
what's
that
gonna hurt you is
26,
gonna
no, it gets paid regardless. But now, like I say, like when you mentioned before, right, the debt to income ratio.
No, but
so,
you still got to be careful. If they look at the report, depending on what you're doing, and the creditor looks at the report, they already could tell if you're what I'm looking for, liable. When they see that you're not liable for the report for that debt,
counts you out at that point,
it counts you out.
yeah, but you gotta think so. Like you go to most car dealership, whatever, they're not really looking at it like that. They're looking
But
at they see the number and they're like,
they're a bunch of idiots. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. But
meaning,
but you gotta understand, majority of
but
places
the
you deal with
finance-
are like that.
If you're talking about that, you're talking about the actual dealer. The actual finance person that makes the approvals, he should know or she should know
Okay.
that. Oh, okay, wow, okay, the debt is whatever. Oh, he's not liable for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that they can't factor that in because end of the day, you're not liable for that at all.
So how
End
do
of
they
the day.
how do they see what you actually are liable for?
They're gonna know what belongs to you.
Okay.
They can
So it
tell.
should
Once,
show
once
your
you look at the
charge?
report, typically, anytime you see it says authorized user account, you know that it's an account that doesn't belong to that particular person.
So how do they see like what I specifically charge?
They're not going to see that.
Right. So what if all
don't.
$26,000 is mine?
Even if the whole $2,000 is yours, let's say hypothetically it was Amex. If let's say you charge $5,000 on that, Amex is not coming after you for that $5,000.
Coming after the prime.
He's coming
After
after
that
the
person?
primary because
Okay.
Amex doesn't have an agreement with you. Amex has an agreement with this person.
Okay.
Now he could come after you, sidebar, to come after you for that bread, but that has nothing to do with whatever agreement they have with Amex. Ultimately, they're responsible for it at the end of the day.
Typically, when you do that, you don't give the person the card. So my brother,
Yeah, you do
when
it
my,
first
when
in
my
the
credit
trust.
score was a little bit low, was a lot bit low, and I need to get it up.
Yeah.
He made me an authorized account. The card is going to your home address,
Yeah,
the person's
goes to the
account.
primary. And
You just keep
majority,
the card and put
majority
it
of
away
these
or
accounts
shred it.
now, you could tell them you don't even want a card. You
Yeah.
just want them to add them as an
No,
authorized
I understand. I mean, that's a very smart thing or whatever. Especially if you have kids or whatever kids may be, you just add them on there. You do that. But just for people at home, like who might deal with those sort of things, just to make sure people have the ins and outs. Because what happens is, right, like you mentioned earlier, Ace, there's especially with Instagram now. Like for instance, like everybody who listens to this, I'm sure the algorithm is going to pull it up, and every 2 seconds they're going to see a thing for credit repair and whatever the case may be, right? So everybody gets caught up in these rabbit holes, like, oh, if I do this, then I'm going to be able to get this done. If I do this, I'm going to be able to get this done. Or if I just email them and I say, yo, this is not mine, it's whatever. So people really don't get the ins and outs of how it is to get it done, because there's just so much, the information is so
way-
complicated.
way more
sending a
involved,
letter, and then they got the person that will say. I'm
So-
sure we all went through that.
So I think
Send letters.
So
out.
I
I
think
sent
something-
a letter last like
so
2
kind of what
weeks ago,
Steve
I
was
ain't
saying,
gonna
like
hold
what
you.
Steve was asking about, right? And something what you mentioned before, I think that's really important to like not only us but also our listeners, right? So from your standpoint, being the expert on this, I got, say, like Steve has $70,000 in student loans, right? How would you work to?
Don't remind me.
It is what it is. Sorry.
Remember that you still owe the money. It's not reflecting on
They
the
can
credit.
get the
It's not-
money
it's
when
not
they
gonna
get
show.
It
it.
just don't show on
Right,
the
but so how does that process work for him? Like what does he have to do, or what will he have to do with you as a customer to try to work to get that off?
You want my secrets? I can't give you my
No, not
recipe.
the secret, but I'm just saying,
Bro.
but like, you gotta pay for that.
Yeah, you can give me my recipe, bro.
No, but I'm just saying, is it
Moneybag
as-
Joe taking that off my account. Moneybag
So
Joe
I'm
did.
just trying to get understand. Like, is it just as simple as like, yo, you just flick a button, or like, does he actually have to do some sort of legwork and stuff on his
everything's
end?
on me.
Okay.
It's just certain info I'll need from him. Info I'll need, documents. I mean, typical shit that everybody would know. You know, first name, last name, date of birth, address, social. those type of information. And documentations would be proof of address, which would be your license, or a bill, your social security card if you have that, passport, whatever. Once I have all these things that I need, the rest is on me to do what I need to do.
All right, question. So for someone trying to build their credit up, they don't have any, like, nowhere to start. Because me, when I started out, I had no credit. And I learned to find out no credit is worse than bad credit.
Yeah, that's what I tell my kids.
So what happened is, like I was applying for things, just getting denied. And I was like, it was a point I was like stressed, like how am I ever get credit? If they're not giving me a chance to even like give me a chance to mess my credit up at least, you know, like let me get a chance to mess it up. Like you're not even you're not even letting me get like $100, whatever it is. I don't even care. I because at a point like a few years back, I realized, like no lie, I really realized how important credit was. No lie, like back in like 20, I say 15 maybe. 14 maybe, because I was working with some guys and they was older guys and they were schooling me about the authorized user and everything. I'm like, this is like, I was like, oh, what authorized user? Yeah, I do that. And the guy broke it down to me. He's like, yo, like I'm not trying to like play like a race card or something. He said difference between us and y'all is like y'all parents and family members mess your credit up at a young age, so 18 is harder for you. Our parents help our credit as authorized user for 18 years. So therefore, you got 18 years of bad credit history. I got 18 years of good credit history. So at 16, I could go get a Benz, Beamer, whatever.
Yes
no money down. You know what I'm saying?
Depends.
Yeah, I'm saying depends. But he explained like that's a difference. And I was like, and me saying that to him, I was like, oh shit, I know family members who have phone bills in their name. I was like, damn, nigga, right. Mm-hmm. So now yeah, we'll get to that later. So like my question is like starting out, how do you establish what's the routes or what's like what to apply for? What's the best route to establish credit? It's the first question. And after you start establishing credit, how many primary accounts should you have, or like how many credit cards, or versus like authorized users, or when do you stop the authorized users? Or like you don't ever stop. I'm just trying to give it like that's just like how do you go about that? Because like you said earlier, you don't want to have 7 authorized users and 1 primary. Like what should be a proper guideline as in primary accounts for yourself personally, and how do you start off to even get a shot to mess your credit up?
Okay, I mean one of the simplest ways will be secure cards. You know what I'm saying? Like Capital One.
That was crazy.
At Capital One, I think they recommend everyone.
Yeah,
let me tell you what happened.
It's probably more popular because they typically don't do dollar for dollar.
Now let me tell you what happened though. Yeah. My first time ever I applied for it, they denied me.
Okay. For the secure card?
Yes. You must have had 3 cable bills under your name.
No, I never had cable in my name. I never had nothing in my name. I literally had nothing on my credit, like literally nothing in my name. They denied me. It took me like a year later.
What was the denial for? What was the reason?
They never said. They
okay.
did not.
Typically with secure credit cards,
I'm not sure if they never said. I never looked into it to see why.
Unless you owe them money, that could be one.
I literally had nothing on my credit.
Unless you say like, if you didn't have a bank account, that could be a denial.
I had it. It was so weird to me. Like they denied me. I was like, I got the little $20. I want to start the credit, but and I applied a year later. They approved it, and after that, I was out to the races.
It depends on the institution. Typically, they'll have a criteria. Like you have to have a bank account, whatever amount of money you deposit in, or so. Okay. It's almost very rare when you do a secure card.
So you believe most people should start off with a secure card?
I mean, secure cards. You got which everyone probably knows. If not, the My Jeweler account.
I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
What's on my jeweler account?
Yeah.
I need some new ice. You know what I'm saying?
No, like for instance, like you'll have My Jewelers. You'll have what is it called? New Coast Direct. They work typically exactly the same way. Like if what it'll be is, let's say My Jewelers, you go on their website to go purchase an item, right? You purchase an item. So I'll tell anybody, if you go on there, just purchase a costume jewelry, even if it's $100. Who gives a shit? So you purchase something from there, and then they have a fee to join their club of $99. So let's say hypothetically you bought something for $200, you pay the fee of $100 to join, you're guaranteed to get approved, and they'll give you a $5,000 credit limit. You know what I'm saying? But for that website. You can't use it anywhere else and whatnot stuff. But I tell, again.
But the beauty of that is not, you don't got to go back and buy it. You got yourself.
You got a $5,000 limit.
$5,000.
Yeah.
I did that with
I never did that.
Fingerhut.
I never knew about
Fingerhut has that option. The one New Coast Direct is exactly the same way. as the modulars. You know, again, whatever you
That's
purchase
like
something.
the Sezzle. Whatever, I seen something called Sezzle on Instagram. Might be saying
Yeah,
it wrong.
there's 10 of them.
Now,
you know.
now it's like a whole
Possibly.
bunch now. Like,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them now. Then you have, which I don't recommend, Experian Boost. where you
Yeah,
could
that's
put
some
your-
bullshit. I saw that showing on YouTube.
Nah,
Yeah.
that worked.
No, it works.
Like 10
I
points.
put my table. I put my phone bill on
the
there.
whole issue with the Experian Boost, by me personally, I don't recommend it. Like me personally, even though I'm talking to be the credit guy, all of my utilities I never pay on time ever. I don't pay my cell phone bill on time. I don't pay my cable bill on time.
But it don't affect your credit.
It doesn't affect your credit unless you go into default at all. Now, the moment now you start putting these things on your credit,
Just made a
and
problem.
then next month you don't pay it on time, now it's gonna start affecting your credit. You know what I'm saying?
smart.
I'm not gonna
So-
lie to you too. Not to
smart.
cut you off,
You smart.
but when I was buying this house, I had my phone bill because I did do the Experian Boost, and it is on my credit, and it did boost it up a little bit.
It boosts it a little bit, but it's
It do. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
And it's only
When-
for Experian.
Yeah.
That's it.
So when I went to get the house, when he seen it on there, it kept coming up as something I owe monthly.
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't come up as
Good credit.
good credit.
So you might as well-
It comes up as something
not
that you
even
owe.
leave it
alone.
I mean,
Leave it alone.
most people do
He
it.
said,
when-
"What's this 123 you owe every month?" I'm like, "No, this is my phone bill. Like, it's supposed to help
Yeah.
my credit."
It helps.
Most people do that when they're desperate, but there's smarter ways.
I was
again.
desperate.
Yeah,
It becomes
As I-
involved.
as I
It becomes
explained,
involved
to
in
do
debt
that.
on
And like I
them.
said again, with me, I just keep it at 100. I don't pay none of my utilities on time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes my cell phone bill be 2 months behind before they cut off if I say screw it and pay it. But I play the game. I typically play the game on
Because really, what happens with the Experience Boost, like they add that to your credit, and that's the reason why it boosts.
That's
Because
the
you got a
reason
new
why.
inquiry
Yeah.
on it, and it's in good standing at the point. And
Exactly.
but once you don't pay, it hurts you.
Yeah.
So it's rather you rather
Might as
just
well not touch
don't
that.
just
Yeah,
leave
you
that
shine-
alone.
you're shining a light on it,
Leave
and
that
then
alone.
it's-
I believe so. I've never used it. I've never looked into
'Cause
it.
it's bullshit.
If anybody asks me for it, that's the first thing I explain to them. Is like, hey, bro, listen, if God forbid this month you couldn't pay your cell phone bill or your electric bill, like typically, let's say with your electric bill, they're not gonna cut you off because you didn't pay it next month.
That's a fact.
Normally they're gonna probably cut you
months
off
at a time.
2, 3, 4
Styles
months
will.
before you go down the road.
They gonna run out.
Now I'm not. Now I'm
Unless
not.
they them.
I'm not. I'm not saying
he
for you
doesn't say
guys
that either.
for you guys to do what I'm doing or so. But I just know the game of there's certain creditors that you don't have to necessarily pay on time without it affecting your credit,
Right.
and then you just it's all.
But that's because you know your shit. It's not you ain't gonna tell the
typical-
everything.
But I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah,
We're just having it in
yeah.
the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no,
Because-
that's good advice. Great advice.
Because
That's great
you
advice.
got to understand, most people, even though you're speaking to them and you're telling them the truth, they're always looking for someone to blame if things doesn't work out in their favor.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So certain things, like I'll have a person say, hey, so being that you got this shit off my credit, I don't owe the money, bro. I'm not telling you not to pay anything. You know what I'm saying? Reading between the lines to what I'm explaining to you. Because again, what I specialize in doing, like if an account has multiple late payments or derogatory or collections or charge or repo or whatever, me personally, my goal is to delete it off your report in its entirety. I don't waste my time trying to go after late payments and so or whatnot. That's me. That's my method. Everybody else has their own method, what works for them or so. You go ahead and have fun with that. Me, if it's affecting your report, my goal is to delete it. Okay? Now, if I delete it off of your report, it still doesn't mean that you don't owe the bread. It just means credit-wise,
You can't see it.
you can't
It
see
just means catch me
I'll
when you can.
I tell my clients, you read in between the lines to what I'm explaining to you. Whether you pay it or don't pay it,
Shit, I ain't paying it.
credit-wise,
I ain't
it's not
paying it.
affecting you any longer.
Come get that
because
back
And
it's
if you
blood.
don't pay it, you gotta come back to me so I can delete it again.
or so, you know what I'm saying? But I go that route for the easierness, even though that's not a word for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you have an account, like I'll look at a person that'll have between the years of having this account, 150 days worth of late payments.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Or more. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I've been there.
The amount of
only like
work
4
that it'll
months,
take,
though.
the amount of work, 150 days, that's about 6 months.
Okay.
The amount of
Definitely- it's
the
definitely
amount
12
of
months, but,
work that it takes. But then you'll have a person out, let's say have 150 days, or let's say 90 days of late payments. Then they'll pay it, bring it up to par. Then 4 or 5 months later, because they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, they find themselves again have another 90-day late. and then they pay it up to par, and then they find themselves, because
another-
again, robbing Peter to pay Paul. They have all these multiple late payments. The amount of work for me to try to clear up all those late payments isn't worth the time and the effort for me to do. So if I'm gonna go after it, I'll suggest, bro, I'm just gonna remove the
stop
entire
paying it.
account.
Yeah.
No, I'm not telling you this. Again, if you're one of my boys, I'm gonna tell you to stop paying. But like I said earlier, they looking for someone to blame if things doesn't work out in their favor.
It's your fault if you ain't paying your
You know what I'm
bills.
saying? So and they want you to tell them don't pay.
Got you.
But I take
it's
that
more,
like,
it's more easy on the
Yeah,
heart.
on the heart.
I say don't pay, so
Yeah.
he the credit guy.
so I
ain't
take
paying
that
shit.
I take that liability off my shoulders, off the rip. I just
Yeah.
give them all the information that it is, and
You
ultimately
make your decision.
that's the decision that you're making. But my job is whatever I'm doing is on a credit level.
Okay.
Anything else after that, what comes with it by paying or not paying, you deal with that also. Even though there's ways of dealing with that anyway, but that's another.
So,
hold
so
on.
me
Yeah.
as a new, you already had your
I got
questions,
mad
bro.
questions. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you can go after me. So, so me as a new father, right? I wanna do what Sai said. Like, I wanna have my son established before he's 18 and have good credit where he could go out and get that Benz. Where his portfolio, I want it to be heavy. So I want him to be for him to be set by the time he's 18 as far as credit comes. Where do I start? Where do I go? What do I do?
I mean, initially, remember before, I can't remember what age. I think no child could get anything under their name before. It's either 13 or 16.
No. Now,
I forget.
Discover and Capital One allowed you
At 13.
once you have a Social Security card.
Okay, so
I mean, it's something fairly new. 4 years now.
probably
I have
changed.
Discover.
But primarily at that age, majority of it is going to be piggybacking off of somebody else's credit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Until they get to that level, which again, I believe it to be either 13 or 16.
So basically, what I'm asking is, what could have your daughter done differently? Well, I mean, what could you have done differently for your daughter for her to be able to go in and get that car
Yeah, you
that day?
It
basically?
would have been a combination of me doing an authorized user as well as her doing things under her name herself.
Okay,
Like
so
what?
so real quick, let's
Store
so-
cards, Victoria's Secret card. Okay, let's say she tried to go get a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if let's say she had credit cards under her name and or authorized user account, she had strong credit. Just the mere fact that she's never had an auto loan, they're gonna either deny her or they're gonna rape her.
Yeah.
Bro, this is that
You know what I'm
bullshit
saying?
I be talking
So-
about.
so-
And I'm trying to come by my first. That's the same exact thing when you try to go to get a job done where you ain't got no experience.
Yeah.
Like, where the fuck am I
But
supposed to
it's-
go get it
but
from?
it's-
Nah, but at the end of the day, the
but
job.
Like, where I'm supposed to
but
get a
then
car
sometimes-
loan
Keep me
from?
anyway.
But
Gotta
then
do the
sometimes,
job.
You know, I hate
it's
that
the
shit, man.
growing pains of getting you to where it be. Not everything is gonna come to you like a
So,
silver
all right, so I
spoon.
have-
you
I have-
gotta
that's a
sometimes-
fact. So I have
you
a
gotta-
question for
so
you,
there's
right?
certain things you can make it easier for them or so, but there's still a level of growing pains that they're gonna have to
gotta
go
do.
So
through.
so
You know what
real
I'm
quick,
saying?
so I'm gonna let you get your question.
Don't believe the BS a lot of the times that you see on social media where they just make people think that automatically you do this and everything's just going to come to
should be
you. Don't work
bubblegum.
like that. Me with a 835 credit score,
Ooh, drop the
Right?
number.
it's very rare that it happens, but there's times I've been denied for shit. And it's rare. Damn near very rare that I ever get to pretty much anytime I want anything, if I want it, I got it, it's mine. I've been denied for shit. You know what I'm saying? But then there'll be factors to why it may not necessarily be because it was
So
a
it could
credit.
be that entity that you're dealing with. Like
It could be
whatever
it could be
whatever
depending
you're
on what it
trying to purchase.
was or what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So just because the misconception is the moment your credit is 720 or other, you're getting whatever the fuck you want, which is lies.
It's not the case at all. So I have a question, right? So
No,
piggyback-
Sai had a question.
No, real quick, because the piggybacks right off of with the lane you were going
Like
down with that one, right?
piggybacking now, huh?
Yeah, that's the story of the
I
day.
need to piggyback on your credit cards. I need my credit
Facts.
cards.
So you mentioned just like so we're all relatively new fathers besides you guys. You guys have kids a little bit older, right? But the same question he posed to you. So your daughter at 22, right? You would have said that you would have done a mix between authorized users and maybe helping her get her own, right? So say she would have walked into that dealership that day and they would have said, yo, the number is crazy. And then would it have been beneficial if you say, you know what? Fuck it. Do it, right? As the father, I'll help her just pay the loan down, whatever, because the cost is going to be the same. And so that way she builds that auto loan credit, and after like a year, just now help her refi under better credit.
Not necessarily, because it's also dependent about greed. Like a person, for instance, okay, you will want a Benz, but then you could take the growing pains of, and I'm not knocking any car, so please, by all means, I don't want nobody to think I'm knocking any car, okay? Please.
They be all right.
But let's say you could have went and bought a base model Kia, and went through the growing pains of getting a car that would have been $13,000.
Facts.
And went through the growing pains of it to build yourself up. So now when you got to a certain point, you want to get out of that and then you wanted to go into more of a classier or a quality. I'm not saying Kia's not a quality car, but more of a certain type of car.
But at that age, you want to go.
That's what I did.
That's exactly what I did, right?
But most people
exactly what I
aren't willing to do that. They
Sacrifice.
They don't want to say. They just want. I just want people to think that I'm popping off the rip.
Before I had my Benz, I had a Honda.
Yeah,
And my Honda Accord, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of liked it more than my Benz because of the features.
100%.
Like,
100%.
I didn't hit nobody on the bike because once I hit the signal, you get a camera on the screen and you can see who's coming.
So like I said, so it's ultimately.
Oh, that's what that scuff. That's what
Now
that
I'm
scuff
just hitting
was.
people on bikes because I can't see them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a quick story. I had a quick story about credit. Like I'm not a credit person. Like I just know a lot from y'all, my friends and family. That I like to pick people's brain and like learn and others. You dropped a few jewels with me today. So my first official car I went to go get was an Infiniti. But I walked in there and know my credit was like, all right, I had cash ready. I had this. But I went in there and I had everything already mapped out. I'm going to put this down. My payment should be between this and this. No more. I was able to, I knew what I could handle. I went in there and everything worked out beautiful because it worked out right under my budget. It was like, I was like, oh, damn, I did this shit beautiful. I was proud of myself. Like, oh, I did this. Then had the car for 2 years. I went back, same dealership, get the car back. Still had some value. And I wound up getting an Audi truck. No money down. No nothing. Because really, I wanted just like, I was shopping. I wanted a bigger truck. This had a kid. So I'm like, yo, if any too small. I was just shopping. I was going to look at the Durango. And my shorty was like, nah, that's too manly. I need to drive something more. I'm like, all right, cool. So the Audi. And the guy was like, you run your credit real quick? I'm like, all right. Because I knew I was good. Had 2 years of the car previously, on time, everything. Credit went up. I was in good shape. So I knew. Like you said, you walked in there, I knew I was good. He came back. He was like, oh, I get you this today. He was like, I get you this right now. So I'm like, what? I'm like, yo, how much? You're like, nothing. I was like, shit, yo, fuck that Finny. I'm on the car taking my shot already. Like, yo, run that. Yeah, let me get this shit out. So like, some people don't know how to sacrifice. You might not get something you really want, but it take time.
You had two good cars.
That's a fact.
You have a Honda.
No,
nothing. Yo, listen, I just got out of a Honda, all right?
Well, I'm saying this.
I ain't not got Honda's a nice car.
I'm saying this.
that was fire,
I have a
man.
friend, right? I have a friend, one of my mans. Right? He got some bread. He was kept hitting me. Y'all need a car. I'm like, yo, first I tell him, how's your credit? Yo, my shit fucked up. I'm like, so you can't get no car. I got bread though.
You should have told him go see Ace.
I'm like, boy, you walk in there with that bread, they gonna take all your bread you got. You don't have none. So, he didn't want to listen. He wanted a car. He wanted he went out to car dealership. They telling him put down like 15,000 cash, And I'm telling him like, yo, you shouldn't appeal with nothing more than 10,000. You can't approve for the IRS. That's something you like. I said they set you up. That money going to their pocket. So long story long, he was like he was all like not in the right direction. I'm like, yo, bro, that same money you got, you use that to fix your credit. Wait 6-8 months, come back, you could get shit you want to get. And he like, yo, I can't wait. I need to get this V. And he shit on niggas on the block. I'm like, son, you should.
You want to look the part without being the part.
No. I'm like, nah, bro. Just trust me. Do this. I've affirmed a few things. Got your credit right. Just recently, like a month ago, I brought him back to the dealership. Credit right. He backed out the X5. He wanted. First car, X5.
Everybody on that.
And that's how you should. And that's how it took some time. But like people understand to this, sit back, chill, figure your shit out.
Get your shit together.
That's it.
That's overall what the whole concept of everything. 100%. The credit, like
exactly. But he didn't know. He was on something. I got the money. I'm gonna put it down.
Listen, patience is a virtue.
That same bread is probably less. You could spend that money.
I didn't make it
less.
I'm
coining it. And it all worked out.
And then it's beautiful. The dope part about it, especially if you could go in it, no money down, no nothing. Like I said, I'm a big proponent on that. With no money down on any car. You know what I'm saying? Because you do that, you get gap coverage. God forbid, if a month from now, a year from now, the car gets totaled, because it could very well happen. You know what I'm saying? You still kept that bread. You still, you know what I'm saying? There's many little dope little.
I'm glad you actually made that point, right? So something I learned back in the day when in a previous career and stuff like that, doing finance and insurance, things of that nature, right? So when you go and like apply for like auto insurance, right? The three major factors that I learned that impact the rate that you pay, the zip code that you live in,
Zip code, yep.
your occupation. Because if you're a firefighter or you do something, a very dangerous job, they look at it in the mindset that you're already a reckless type of person. So you're all in all probably be a reckless driver. And the third thing is your credit. There have been people who have been driving for 20 years, phenomenal driving history, no issues. They live, their next neighbor is 3 miles away and their credit is trash. And the company I was working for was like, nah, you good. We're not.
And plus, they tell too much information too.
Yeah,
I give them the bare minimum. You know
I mean, there are ways. Like I said, occupation is a very thing.
You tell too much.
You know what I mean? I ain't tell you nothing. Don't worry about it.
They give too much info as far as how many miles they driving and whatever.
Right, but I mean, those things might take over a little bit. But like, there have been people where like the system was like once you get the credit, you hit enter. The system shuts down red and like, yo, nope, it's over for you.
That comes from cockiness. Cause you start thinking like, yo, I got a good job. I got this. I do that. I'm gonna tell them everything. I'm gonna be proud to tell you about it. You start telling
because the reason why, like you know, insurance, like auto insurance, right? They look at social responsibilities. So they're like, yo, if you can't manage your finance, do all that kind of stuff. How would you really manage being safe or whatever the case may be? However, whatever algorithm
like
they
if you
use,
see the rate
that's
that
very important.
I pay for insurance. I have 5 cars, all of them fully covered, fully insured, everything, and I pay for all 5. What I know some people are paying for 1 car.
Yo, you dropping the number on that?
Monthly. I was like, I pay monthly like 4 and change.
For 5 cars?
5 cars, yeah.
Yeah, yo, bro, real rap. Yeah. I mean, if you can get it out of New York, this fire like on the truck. I joined this thing. It's like $96 a month.
Yeah, I'm sorry, niggas got Connecticut, Delaware plates and shit like that.
No, but then
honestly, bro, even we ran it for New York, right? Because sometimes like you know, like you might notice like so you want to look into like buying a home or whatever. They kind of want a lot of things to fall in line. Even when we move it to New York, it might be like 120 or whatever the case may be.
Listen, just in case Geico's listening, I live in Delaware. I live in Delaware.
$96 a month.
Yeah, and it's a lease, so the coverage has to be crazier.
Must be nice.
Let me ask you a question though. I don't know if any of you guys know this.
The purpose of the podcast.
This is
never had this much questions though.
It's a very interesting topic, man.
Never thinking this much.
We get into something that hurts the bag, man.
Yeah. So one of my friends told me the other day when it goes with insurance, at Young, you can add your child on your insurance.
I ain't doing that.
No,
you could do that.
No. Finish the question.
It killed my rate by adding them on. It killed my rate.
Hold on, finish the question.
It does.
But wait, depends. Finish the question. Let me ask you.
No. What he told me was because you know when you first get a car, you first get your license, and you're trying to get insurance under your name. I had to get insurance upstate New York because out here. And no one else was.
It depends on.
Yeah, it was under my name.
You have to do it strategically, right?
I got it under my name, upstate New York. I was going to school upstate New York. I got the insurance.
I would not recommend saying, all right, yo, just put your kid under your insurance. Like your kid is 18. They got the license yesterday. Just put them on the insurance. Right?
Too much reliability.
No, you're not listening. You're not listening.
So go ahead.
What he was saying is because listen, for example, I got my insurance when I was 18. I ran it for out here because on my parents' address when I was 18, it was like $800 a month. That's what they wanted. I'm going to school upstate at this point, so I just used the address of where I was staying upstate, and it was $93.
The zip code, I told you, immediately changed it.
It was $93. So, but that was just on my own because my father didn't put me under his insurance. It's just too much. I was good. What I'm saying is for my son, because it goes based off of history. I'm a new driver. This is why if I was paying in New York City, it would have been $800. I'm a new driver, fresh out of, just got my license.
But listen, bro, you good living on Long Island now. You don't know
I'm not, no.
You're not worry about it.
What I'm saying is, if what he told me is you can add your son on your insurance right now, like
cannot do
today,
that.
as
No,
0
no,
months.
no. You can.
Your car insurance?
Yeah, your
No,
car
no,
insurance.
you-
That's
I
how
don't know.
I'm asking for clarity. If anybody else heard
I don't-
this,
I don't know that
Let
part.
me tell you what happened. What I heard.
Yeah.
just to build his history, because you know,
No,
it goes
no,
by
go ahead,
history.
hold on, go
Tell
ahead,
what
go ahead,
happened.
go ahead.
What happened? Some of these car insurance places they do because like yearly or like whatever, like
6
3-4
months.
years. Yeah, they will run the address and see everybody in the address who the driver will have a license, and they can just add everybody in
No,
the
but
household.
that's New York State law, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can add you without you even adding somebody. Happened to my sister. They added my nephew to our policy, and she did not know it. So and like I said, it don't help you. It hurts you, the
hurts you.
primary person who's driving.
It hurts you,
100%.
But
What the insurance is
but
just
for the
trying to
other,
say that
Nah,
person
nah,
would be
nah.
probably
I
driving.
think I'm explaining exactly how it works. Go ahead.
yeah, let me finish that real quick. So like, it hurt the driver, like the primary driver that started the policy, and it helps the person who's added on. But it's like it's kind of like you really don't need them to add anybody on. Like it is what it is. But like they do it themselves. Like some of them would go around your back and would just add them to the policy. See your shit like, oh, my shit went up.
And you gotta be careful. Like when I'm doing my insurance, and I'm not an insurance expert, but I just know what little I know. When they asked where do I live, of course, get the address. Your home, is it a single family or multiple? Oh, it's a multiple. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because now, let's say one of my children's name popped up.
They don't live with me.
They don't live with me. I don't know. That must be the neighbor. Oh, they got this. That's not mine. I live in a multi-family house.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt lives downstairs. That got to be my nephew or my cousin.
So this
You know what I'm
is
saying?
so what Sai said is 100% correct, right? So in insurance, so for liability purposes, I am no longer licensed. However, I do understand and I do know exactly how the laws work with that, right? So they do run usually like almost like it might not be every 6 months, but at least every year, right?
Yeah.
They run your license history, right? So if you happen to have gotten an accident, you didn't report. You got tickets that are not camera tickets, like you got pulled over for reckless driving, DWI, whatever the case may be, right? They run those reports or whatever. And honestly, some people's jobs also do that. If you work for the state, stuff like that, they run like my job, like they run your license every year or whatever the case may be. So the DMV, you get the abstract or whatever the case may be, right? So they run it and they understand what's going on. They'll look at it and they'll be like, all right, so in the last year, you've had 7 tickets to either your policy, to your name, or to this vehicle, right? But then they run the name like, oh, somebody else with the last name green shirt, is it living at the same address? And they're like, yo, but wait, this same person keep getting these things. They're not dumb. These people are educated. They're like, all right, all right, let's put these two together, send it off. So your policy for 5 cars with $400 some odd a month, now it's gonna be $900 a month because of tickets that people didn't get or didn't fight or whatever the case may be, right? If that happens, you like just like Ace said, right? You can call them up and say, yo, why is this person on my insurance? I don't know who this is. Might be a fake name or whatever the case may be. I don't know who that is. Or like you said, it's a multifamily or X, Y, and Z. In New York State, if you are married, by law, your spouse is on your insurance. Like if you go and you bought a car, I'm going to buy myself a Lambo, whatever car you want. This is my car. This is my name, my insurance, whatever. Are you married? Yes. What's your wife's name? I don't matter. She's not gonna be in the car. Well, I'm not selling your policy. What's your wife's name? Because you're all automatically covered under your spouse's insurance, no matter what, under New York state law. And New York, Connecticut, Florida, and there's another state, I can't remember what the fourth one, right? They all have reciprocity. So if you got tickets in New York and all that cuss, you don't pay, and you move down to Florida, you go and you get your license down there, and you want to get insurance down there, it's all popping up. And now you're going to be all that stuff is going to be on your insurance. It ain't all you just move. It's all under there. So I would say the thing with the children, right? Your kid turns 18, you want to get them a vehicle, whatever, right? Listen to me. This is the way, this is the best, this is the best, this is what I've come to learn. This is the best way that I've seen that I've been able to help customers that works, right? Let kids' insurance be under their name. But you are a co-owner of their policy. You understand? So it's almost like a piggyback of like we were talking about with the credit cards or whatever,
So you're
right?
saying the children get their own policy?
Correct. So the policy is gonna cost, right? So instead of being $800, because now you co-owning with them,
Yeah.
it might be like $400. But now what you start to
Yours
do with
go
that
up
child,
though, right?
yours does not go up. There's 2 options. Yours doesn't go up, but you go and you help them to make theirs a little bit less, but now they own that policy. Or you
At what
can
age?
legal age. Most depend. Honestly, legal age of driving, which in New York is 16 because you gotta have your permit at 16, right? So you can do it at that age, or you can add them to your policy, right? You add them to your policy, and you say, you know what? The person only drives, like you mentioned before. I give too much information. This child drives this car 3,000 miles. They go from school to home. They can, they have like those chip things you can put. You can tell them I have this on it, I have that on it. They're never gonna check. They're not gonna know. Especially with COVID and stuff now, they ain't coming to check nobody's nothing, right? And then you limit it. And then you say, listen, they only drive it this amount of miles or whatever, this to and from work. They don't drive at night. We have security things or whatever on there. All of those things affect that policy. That policy that might have been maybe $400 might only be $200 more now on your joint. But what you do is you now are giving them insurance age. So now we know when you turn 25, your insurance is less. But if you got your license at 23, it doesn't matter. It's rated on a child getting their license at 17. By the time they're 25, they've had insurance for 8 years. They're supposed to be more responsible. So even like now, like if you go and you change, like right now, if we go and we change insurance, right? They're gonna ask, how long have you been with this said company? Everybody on this everybody who's covered under it, covered under the same company. Some people get calls from their jobs. So my job covered me for like 4 or 5 years. So the insurance was under her name. For why do I need to put myself on my job, cover my insurance? But when you do that for your child, they get what they call insurance age. So when they ask, oh, do you cover anybody else or whatever? Yeah, I've been under my parents' policy for 17 years, 8 years, whatever obscure number it is. That credit automatically goes towards how long they've been covered, and it gives you that. Because another thing that can happen to you is you had a car crashed, God forbid something happened to it or whatever. You say, you know what? It's quarantine. I ain't going nowhere anyway. Why pay a car? No, I don't have a car for a year. Now you get another job. You got to go get a car. All right, who have you had covering you for the last year? Now I've been home. I ain't need a car. You start from scratch.
You got and that's something I learned. If you don't have continuous insurance in the last 6 months, they dock you for that.
There are some companies that would allow you to have a non-driving policy. Yeah. And it's called like a SR22
you
or stuff like that.
$9 a month.
Yeah, something very little. Because like other states, if you keep getting like DWIs or whatever, or you getting cleanup tickets or whatever, two things that can happen. I've seen people who don't even have a license, like they have just an ID, get suspended for things like child support or whatever. So then now they try to go buy a car, they can't even get a car or insurance because you owe child support, you owe those type of things or whatever. So those are all these little things that you don't know here or there or whatever. But like if you can't get insurance or whatever, go to different policy companies, get an SR22, just $5, $10, $20 a month or whatever. What? And I'm sorry? It's called an SR22. So it's a policy that you get because like you've gotten like in trouble with your license or you're driving or whatever. So you can't even get insured, but the state is like, you better have insurance because you can go rent a car or something because you have a license technically or whatever. But if you're really, really young and you like want to, you don't really have to drive, but you want to start just build your insurance credit, you can go get an SR22 and say, listen, I don't drive, I don't own a car, but once in a while I might rent a car, I might do something. Because even when you go rent a car, they ask you, do you want our insurance or you want your car insurance to cover it? Never knew that. And a lot of people, car insurance don't cover it because you didn't pick that coverage because it might cost you $4 more a month. They're like, I'm not paying $4 more a month. It's $404, make it $400, and they don't pick it. That's a fact. So now you tight because something happened.
You subbing me, bro? That's me.
I didn't know. The Lime Green was calling. The Lime Green was calling, But, this episode has been filled with so much information. Don't listen to it once. Don't listen to it twice. Go back, watch it, re-listen to it because Ace dropped a lot of gems in here, things that people need to know.
Only scratch the surface, bro.
Listen, there's so much out there that people don't know. And I fell habit to it, in the past where we just go on YouTube or Google something and the first thing that pops up because it's most popular, you're like, oh, it has to be right. And you go and you do it and it doesn't work out. Well, do your research, do your homework, holla at Ace.
What other services you provide besides just credit?
Credit, business credit, help build business credit.
Oh, business credit. Oh, where? Stay here after the show.
Yeah, we trying to get this popping.
Yeah, I'm helping people get their PPP loans. Oh. They're looking for that. You know what I mean? Pay stubs, all that, bank statements. Yeah, but primarily that's what I do. Personal credit, business credit. I'm a life changer. Check me out on Instagram, Ace1Credit_.
Tell them like that came in one more time.
Check me out, Ace1Credit_. I can change your life.
You're mad loud.
I'm loud? Oh, wow.
Say it loud.
Say it loud. Say it
on my website. Get on my
Say it for the people in the
website.
back.
proud.
Say
On
it
my
for the people in the
website,
back.
ICanChangeYourLifeNow.com.
I can change life.com.
How you spell it? How you spell that? What's the correct spelling? As it is.
ICanChangeYourLifeNow.com.
Copy.
All right, you see, I've been endorsed by Master P. He did a little commercial for me. You know what I mean? I did some work for a couple of celebrities and stuff, but of course
Oh,
I gotta keep
ICDC
it.
College. That's you.
But yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Yo, listen, man, we appreciate everybody for
pleasure.
tuning in. We're gonna have Ace's information in the bios below. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, tune in. Go see his page. If you have questions, hit him up. We're gonna continue to, periodically, like I said in the past, we want to talk about financial literacy. And this is just scratching the surface about credit, car insurance. There's so much out there, and we want to make sure that we educate our folks on what it is. And we're learning as well. I don't know a lot. We learned so much just from him today. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, tune in, tell a friend to tell a friend. We appreciate you for tuning in with us.
Peace.
Dada. Dada. Dada.